Are they going from a 110 volt to 220? Oh, okay. I see. Yeah, my parents' house, they have a very old wiring system, and my back house is a 110 volt. So if we get anything that runs off at 220, like the updated stuff is 220, it blows the fuses. So yeah, well, we don't have a washer and dryer. We have to go to the laundromat anyway. So how is everybody? Who has a doggy that's barking? Oh. Okay. So actually, Tyler, your background, it's funny because it almost looks like a virtual background. If it wasn't for the boxes, that Medcare box in the back, if that was cleared off, that would look just like a virtual background. Yeah, because it's nice in there. Yeah, I like it. Okay. So did anyone do anything fun this weekend?
Let's see.
I did.
You did? What did you get to do, Eleanor?
I just got sleeping, and I had to go outside.
Yeah. It was pretty weather this weekend, huh? It was nice to go outside. Yeah, it was very nice out. Good. So anyone else get to do anything fun?
I also did something. All right. So what I did on my weekend is that I got to walk around in the cold. I got my exercise in too.
Nice. Where did you walk to? Any place in particular?
Nowhere in particular. I just wanted to walk around my neighborhood.
Oh, good.
I went around, let's see, California. Then I went around. Let's see. Then I went to Marshall, I believe.
Marshall?
Mm-hmm. Marshall Avenue.
I know what California is. I don't know what Marshall is.
California is a little too far for me, so I went to Marshall instead.
Okay. So, so just so you know, CLAD, we're having a DMB practice on your time. Actually, we're going to have the other students come in on your one-on-one time, which is 10:10 to 10:40 today. So during that time, we're going to be practicing DMB until we have, and because we have all our other stuff caught up. So that time is going to be for DMB. So Tyler, you're in the DMB too? Okay, so what I'm asking though is let's see, I have your information actually written down. Because I know you have your class today, right? Your janitorial class. I'm going to have to start pinning notes all over. Okay, Tyler, okay, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9:30 to 11:30. That's your janitorial class, right? Okay, let's see so I can find anything. Okay, so 9:30. Okay, so you're not going to be able to make the DMV class today because you'll be in class. Yeah, that's right in the middle of your time. Okay, that's okay. So you can do it Tuesday. Are you actually doing? Wait, you're not. Are you actually doing the DMV? Oh, okay. Okay, so you don't. Okay, you can pop in the class. I didn't have you on my DMV list that Sherry said that everyone's being in a DMV class. That's Nathan, Jonathan, Jordan, Devin, Andrew, and Clad. That's the list that I have of people that are doing DMV. But but if you want to come in my class during that for tomorrow, then I'll remind you again that it's at 10:10 to 10:40. You might want to jot that down. We're just going over the online test for the DMV. So when you go in to take the written test, you guys will pass it. So did anybody get a chance to study the DMV test this weekend online?
Not me.
Did I send you the link to get to your test by yourself?
Yeah, you did. I didn't get a chance to read it though. What was it? The DMV book. You were telling us that we could read it online.
Yeah, and I also said that you have access to the exams online. You know, the questions that I pull up.
Mm-hmm.
That is, anyone can get to that.
Oh.
So you guys can get to those quizzes and practice yourself, and that way, the more you practice online, by the time you get in there, you're just gonna be able to fire those answers out, because you'll, oh yeah, I made that question. Oh yeah, I made that question, because they'll come up again, right?
That's the plan.
Huh?
I said that's the plan.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so but this class isn't for the DMV. That's the next time around at 10:10. So what I want to do now is drop you guys down so I can have access to your assessment. So are all of you guys, your resumes are completely finished?
Yes.
I believe.
Cloud, is your resume completely finished?
I haven't gotten a chance for Sherry to review yet.
Okay, let's pull up some resumes. So I'll pull up yours first, Cloud. Should be 2021, right?
Yep.
Okay. Let's take a peek here and see if we have to make any changes. This was something that Sherry wanted perfected just out of our hair. So, okay, so I love that. Wybera the Third. That's awesome. And you got your email on there. Objective, interested in learning new skills, enjoys working with people, self-motivated, independent. Okay. Experience, financial literacy, sanitation of work area, professional finding skills, and studies, self-advocacy, and workplace safety. Good. And eschaton. And that was set up tables, bus tables, stacked and organized in dishes. Okay, smart final. Clean and dusted merchandise, kept floors clean, cooler cafe. Server, checked and stocked ice machine, took customer orders and food prep. Good. And education, campus high school diploma. Okay, I think everything looks good. Yeah. Seems like we're missing a section.
You think so?
Is it? Maybe not. Maybe not. But I think it looks good. Okay, let's go on to rights of me. Okay, here we go. Okay, Royce, I'm pulling up yours. Okay. Okay. Oh, you don't have a skills section.
Like a skills section.
Mm-hmm. But I guess that's kind of like what your objective would be, honestly. Because I remember I just said it looks like we're missing a section, and I pulled up Royce's, and Royce has the objective, and then his skills, and then his experience.
Well, we kind of already put my skills in the experience section.
That's true. Well, no, in your experience section is what you did for that job. Your objective, however, has, right, some of that stuff. But do you have anything more to add for your skills if we were to do a section of skills? Like, can you type? Do you know Can you work on Microsoft Word, PowerPoint?
Oh.
Can you do any of that?
I can do Photoshop. I can do Microsoft Excel. I can do Microsoft PowerPoint. I can do Word.
Hold on. You can do Microsoft Excel?
Yeah. I know how to do those.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Maybe
I learned that in high school.
Maybe you can teach me how to work that Excel.
You have to show me everything first.
That's okay. So anyway,
I also know how to web design.
What's that?
Web design.
Oh, Clyde, you need to make a skills section now and put down all of that stuff because that is very important. If any of you guys have any CPR, current CPR, you need to put that on there too.
I never learned how to do CPR. That was one of the skills I wanted to learn here.
Okay, maybe the next time around we can put that in. I think that's important to have that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so definitely, Clyde, you need to get back in there and put skills. Put it. I'm not sure if it goes on top of your objective or underneath. I don't know if it much matters, but
I think that's why I didn't really put it there because I didn't really know where to place it.
Let's see. Royce has his skills is under the objective, so go ahead and put it under the objective like Royce did.
Okay.
Okay, so let me go over Royce's. Fast, independent learner who understands the importance of doing a great job. So I eventually obtain a position that will give me the opportunity to apply my experience to a growing industry. Did Sherry help you write that, Royce?
She did.
Okay. Typing skills, yeah, I love that. You type so fast. That's amazing. Don't let that go. I'm fine. You ever practice your typing? Royce, do you ever practice your typing?
Not really.
Not really? Royce, if you were to practice your typing, you would go so much more than what you're doing now. Because if you're practicing and that's what you're doing, that many words per minute, okay, but if you're not practicing at all and you do that, you could get it up to 65 words a minute if you practiced. Seriously.
People
and you know what?
For a person who types.
What's that?
People really pay for people who type really fast.
I don't know if I should say this or not, but if you know how to type, there's jobs right now on, or at least I've seen jobs on EdJoin with the school district as a clerk or secretary. And let me tell you, the health benefits alone working for the school district keep a lot of people working at the school district because the health benefits are fantastic. Really. So that's something to think about, Royce. It'd be a desk job and you'd be, inputting information like students' absences. I don't imagine you're typing all day. I don't think it's that kind of job, but I know it's a desk job being a secretary, right? Or a clerk. It's something, you could even be a clerk at Lower Ruff when it opens, so I would keep practicing, and that goes for all of you. If you get an opportunity to get on typing.com, make an account. I even have an account, and I'm not real good at remembering to hop on there and practice typing. It's actually kind of fun to do. They give you a little story to type out, and they time it. You can do a 1-minute test, 3, 5, and 10. And it's just practice. At some point, you'll have to go in and get an actual certificate. I think you could do it at the high schools. They'll actually give you an official certificate of your typing speed. And that's when you apply for a job as a clerk or a secretary, that's what you're going to have is a certificate that shows how many, words a minute and your accuracy. So Royce, yeah, if you practice on typing.com, which I know you guys have been on that site before because of Arnold, practice, you could get that up. And then I would add to that how much accuracy you have, the percentage, because I know yours is really high. And that's impressive. That's a fantastic skill to have on your resume, is that you can type. I wish I could have that in my resume too, that ability to have that kind of words per minute. I don't. But maybe someday. But anyway, okay, let's see your experience. Kaiser internship.
Yvonne?
Uh-huh.
I can't edit my own resume.
You can't what?
I can't edit it.
No? How come?
It's because it's already in the classroom. I did. That's why. But
Yeah.
then we turned in late.
Well, I don't think, is there a due date for these actually?
There is. It was March 5th.
Oh, well, you know what? You can make how about we do this? Make a copy. If you don't want to unsubmit it, then make a copy of this and then we'll edit the copy.
All right.
Yeah.
But then I can't update the Google Classroom one without unsubmitting it.
Well, you can send an email to Sherry and explain, say, hey, we decided to make some changes on my resume. I want you to know that I turned it in on time and I wanted to update it, so I'm turning in this other one.
Okay.
And then she won't dock you for that if that's what happens, because you want it. Because she did tell me to go through everyone's resumes and make sure they're perfect, right? And updated and whatnot. So, okay,
right,
so, yeah. So go ahead and make a copy of that and then we can edit the copy. Okay, back to Royce's. Experience, internships, home health.
Actually.
What are you smiling about, Royce?
Nothing.
Yes, you are. No one smiles like that for nothing. Are you on another device?
Well, my only device is my laptop. If you want to ask for Google Docs, I'm not using watching videos, or else you will hear it.
No, you can always have it on mute. But anyway.
You can
Okay,
also have headphones on. She can't hear if you have headphones on.
I don't have any headphones on currently.
Okay, so.
She wouldn't be able to
I
hear
just
you.
think it's funny, that's all.
And you know what? On your resume, Royce, you know what else is a really, believe it or not, you know what's a really good skill to have? Is operated office equipment. Seriously, so many jobs I've seen, the requirement is, can you run a fax machine? Can you run a copier? Can you answer the phone? So that's a good thing to put on your resume, the operated office equipment. I like that.
I wish I could learn how to use a fax machine. It was so far.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I'm actually going to have to learn some things myself. I want to practice my typing. I want to get on Excel. I have to learn Excel. And it's funny because when I was in college forever ago, I did Excel and I learned it. And it was funny because we all had a class. There was so many people in that class. It must have been about 40 people in this class. And they did a real quick rundown of Excel. And they went so fast. I'm trying to make notes. And I was doing pretty good until I had a question. I didn't understand the section. And I raised my hand to wait. And then I got behind on my notes and then I wasn't able to do it. But I went home that day, got on YouTube, and then my daughter at the time, my oldest daughter, she knows Excel. And so she was able to run me through it. And I thought, oh, this isn't so bad. It's a lot to it. But, because I had a research class and we had to input the information in the Excel, and I did know it really well back then, but it's something that I got to restudy because I have not used it since. But yeah, Excel is good, and there's a lot of other ones that are out there that I don't remember the names of that. Those. So any little thing that on a computer, PowerPoints and all that, that is impressive to put on resumes, just because it's something that they don't have to teach you. It's like, oh, wow, they know how to do a PowerPoint. Sweet. Then they can help me with this, right? They can take that job or whatever. So any little thing. And the office, what did you say? The office equipment? Yeah, that's super good to be able to put down on your resume. I hadn't even thought of that before for myself, but yeah, that's a good one. Okay, so I like how everything is bullet point. I like on resumes, everything is to the point and real quick to read because it makes your resume easy to read when it's all bullet pointed. One of the students had a resume where it's just all describing in a paragraph what they did. And I'm like, but that just seems like it takes a little bit longer to get through than just the bullet points, navigated hospital routes, followed sanitation procedures. You know, that's easy to read. It's quick, and it shows what you did. Instead of, you know, I read, and I mean, instead of having it a whole paragraph, I think it's the bullet. Bless you. Someone sneeze?
Bless you.
Bless you, bless you. Okay. You guys ever heard the term Gesundheit?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah. That's a German, God bless you.
Yep.
Okay, so let's see. Yeah, Royce, I think your resume looks pretty good. If I were you, I would, on the right side, you have all your dates. I would make sure they line up perfectly, because I think that January 2018 is off to the right a little bit, because everything else looks perfectly lined up except for your dates. So make sure your dates are all lined up. I don't care if they're not lined up on the end of it, because they're not going to be the same, but the start of it has to be lined up. Okay. So if you hopped on your resume, you could see what I'm talking about. Okay, so let me see something here. Okay, so now, do you guys happen to have, okay, well, hold on a minute. So I went over, okay, so I need to see Tyler's resume before I go on. Resume. I do not have it, and I know that I do. That's weird. Maybe I will just put Tyler and see what comes up. Oh, I just had it. Go back. Let's see. Tyler resume done. Here we go. Okay. Okay, Tyler, I'm going to pull yours up. Oh, see, I love the color in there. I've done mine that way too. In fact, I think I use the same blue. But I love that color. It just makes things stand out. Yeah, because Tyler has his email in blue and dark blue, and then the rest of it's in this lighter blue. The experience is in blue, and the San Juan, the workability part is in blue, and the education, I think that's, yeah, the main titles of his resume are in blue, and I think that looks very nice. Looks very professional. Okay, so let's see. How is, okay. So how did you guys kind of promote internships? Huh. Project search. Okay, Cloud, on yours, since you're going to edit yours anyway, so the project search, I would definitely add Kaiser Permanente on there. Because Royce,
there, or where should I put it?
I would put it Kaiser Permanente project search. That's how Tyler has it written, and I like the sound. I like that because honestly, everyone I've talked to about project search, they're like, "Oh, what's that?" Nobody knows what project search is. Everybody knows what Kaiser is and who they are. Right? Kaiser's been around forever. And when you add that's in project search, I mean, when you add project search in Kaiser Permanente, I think that's pretty impressive. Because it just says project search, and people that are reading that, they're not going to realize that it's for Kaiser, because most people don't know what project search is. In fact, to be funny, I mean, here's a funny story. A lot of people working in Kaiser do not know what project search is.
That's funny. People
Isn't that funny? Because
people who work at the same company don't know what their own program is.
Well, here's the thing. The Sacramento on Morris Avenue, I think those people know what Project Search is because we have a lot of our students in there. But the Roseville Hospital, I've talked to my doctor about that. I've talked to someone that's given me the shots to do that, and a couple of women, a couple of nurses. They've never heard of Project Search out in Roseville. So there's South Sac, but we don't go out there. Yeah, that's too far to get to. Where is that anyway? Do you happen to know what street that's on? Yeah, I know that there was one down there because the woman that used to work for the dishes, I don't know if you remember Tyler, Nikki. She was the dishwasher in the cafeteria. Older woman. Oh, she was about my age. She came from South Sac, but she lived in this area out here, and she got a transfer. Right after we got there, she got a transfer out there, and yeah. So, but yeah, we don't go out there. That's not to say that other schools out in that area don't go out there. I don't know, but I do know that they don't have anyone going out to the Roseville area. Because that hospital is very far from where we live. However, from the school, but there is the medical offices though that are on, I don't know if you guys are familiar with that area, but it's on Kirby and San Juan Avenue. So that's a little bit more local. Like that would be good for Nathan because Nathan's out in the Orangeville area and he would be more closer to those medical offices, but it's not a hospital. But they really revamped that area. So now they got a 5-story building. So I'm sure there might be stuff that we could do there. Stocking supplies. I'm sure they have an EVS department, cleaning all the rooms and stuff, cleaning the area. So I don't know if Sherry ever reached out to those people and to find out for the students that are out that way, like Royce and Nathan, because I think aren't you in the Fair Oaks area, Royce?
Hmm?
You live close to that Smart and Final on Sunrise, right?
Right.
So see those would be easier for you to get to, that medical office on Kirby, because you're out in that area. And so is Nathan. So that would be fine for you guys to get over there. I'm not sure where the rest of you live, what area you guys live in, but I know where Tyler lives, and he's more closer to the hospital over there where you guys are going to go. But yeah, I don't know. It might be a possibility to kind of look into that. Anyway, it would be interesting. Okay. So did you make another, resume, Claude?
Yeah, I did. I also shared it with you.
Oh, you did. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Yes, you did. Okay, so let me exit out of your own room. Okay, so your skills. So all the office equipment, you can say that you had experience there. And then anything you can think of. If you type, if you can run a copy machine, you can answer phones. Any skill that you think could be useful. Okay, Eleanor.
I'm good at answering the phone. I can also talk really well on the phone.
Okay, how about then good communication skills or good customer service skills? Good phone etiquette? Let's see, Eleanor. Resume. What's frozen? Oh, yeah. Yeah, he is. There we go. You were frozen there for a minute, Clyde.
Yeah, sorry about that. That's just my internet connection being unstable.
Yeah, that happens.
Nothing I can do about that.
No, I know. Eleanor, I don't have your resume. Why? Huh. Well, that's odd. Okay, here's all your stuff. Let me go down. Got a lot of daily recognition, that's for sure. But no resume. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe you can share your resume with me, Eleanor.
Okay.
Okay, so do you guys remember having a project search performance report? It was sent through Excel. This was at the beginning of the year. I think a lot of you had it on paper because that was part of the envelope.
I have resume online, but I already finished it.
You already submitted it? Okay, that's okay. We'll leave it then. Okay, so Eleanor, I'm looking at your assessment right here because we were doing yours online, and we never actually finished it. So I'm going to go ahead and share this with you, Eleanor. So it's. Let's see if you can open this. Eleanor, okay. And then as soon as it lets me do it, okay, so I'm going to send. Okay, Eleanor, I'm sending you your performance assessment tool. I'm sharing.
Okay.
So when you get it, just open it, and then we'll talk about it in a minute.
Okay.
Okay, so the rest of you, do you guys do you know what I'm talking about? Because I can share my screen and show you. Let me share my screen real quick and show you what I'm talking about. You may or may not have the digital copy, but I know at some point at the beginning of the year, Sherry gave you a paper copy. So, okay, so this is I'm going to share. And oops. Okay, you guys see that? Are you guys there?
What am I looking for? Oh.
Okay, so this is the assessment. Okay, this is the assessment from Excel that was sent. It has
the same John did a big.
Ooh, you're breaking up, Clyde. What did you say?
I said this is the same assessment that we did at the beginning of the year.
Yes, you're right. Okay, because it has to be done 3 times during the year. So this isn't finished, but it was what you were able to do. Well, if you guys remember, it was what you were able to do as you came into the classroom, right? And a lot of the stuff weren't even introduced to you guys, so that's fine. But in the mid-year, a lot of the stuff we did do, so you have to go through and rate yourself on how well you think you're doing. I don't know if you remember the stuff here, but it's an I for independent. After initial instruction, no further prompts or additional supports necessary. Or you give yourself an S, which means semi-independent, because you occasionally prompts are necessary. And D is dependent, requires prompts to finish the task. And N, the objective wasn't introduced. So that little section, we didn't get a chance to learn it or go over it, right? So that's how you're going to rate yourself on this. Now, can you guys take a moment to see if you have this online? Unless you know that you do. Eleanor, you need to sit back a little bit.
I am, Yvonne.
Okay, because I see
Sorry.
a good close-up of your forehead. But I mean, that's okay to get a little closer to your screen if you need to find something though. Okay.
Is Dr. Ron that you said us?
Oops.
Yvonne?
What's that?
This, that's this.
That's it. But I also sent yours. I sent yours on Google Docs. I shared it with you, so we can have a digital copy too. Okay, so I just sent yours. Now, did the rest of you find yours?
Let me see.
So yeah, I want you to look for that.
Right now.
Okay. Sorry, I'm texting Sherry real quick. Okay. So Royce, did you find yours?
I'm still looking for it.
Okay. Because if you guys can't find it, don't worry about it. I'll just send you a blank one and then we can start from scratch.
What's it called again?
Let me drop you this down. It is called Project Search Student Performance Report. And it would be in Excel. So it'd be easier to find because it would be in green. You know, the little icon for it, it's green.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I found it.
Okay. Oh, good. So share that with me.
What's this?
Is it filled out, Royce?
No, I thought we were supposed to print that out so we could fill it ourselves.
What's that?
I thought Sherry wants us to print the performance report out so we could fill it ourselves.
Well, you can also fill it out online, which would be helpful, so we can all have it online. Me, Sherry, and you, so. And that way we could just see, you know, instead of, and then we could send it back and forth because we're going to do it again at the end of the year, right? Because it's 3 times per year, at the very beginning, in the middle, and at the end. Okay, so Royce, I have yours here. Okay. And then Tyler, did you find yours? Do you remember filling it out if it was a paper copy or an online copy? Okay, so can you get a copy of that from him? I'm surprised that he didn't work on the copy with you. If you don't have your copy of it? Right, well, that's what I mean. I would never work on something like this without having the student have a copy of it themselves. Because that's always important to have your own copy of this. Anyway, okay. Okay, well, can you shoot him a text and find out if you can get a copy of that, if he still has it? He may not, but, and if not, it's not a big deal. I'll just send you a blank one digitally, and then we can start from scratch. Since we got to start from scratch for the midterm assessment anyway, so you'll just have to think back of what you knew how to do at the beginning of the year, right? And it might be a little different for you and Royce because you guys, this is your second year in. So it might be the same answers all the way through because you've already learned this stuff from last year, you know? So it might be a little bit easier for you and Royce because I'm sure you guys went through the whole program. So, but anyway, okay, so I have Royce's, I have Eleanor's. Did you open yours, Eleanor?
Where is it?
I sent it. I shared it with you. So look through your stuff, okay?
Okay.
And then Tyler, I have your resume. So okay. So Tyler, let me. Oh yeah, can you send John a text now? I'm sure he's busy, but. And then Clad.
I'm still trying to find mine.
What's that? You haven't found yours? Okay, so I'm gonna send you a copy. Hold on.
All right.
Oh, thank you. My allergies have really kicked in. Oh lordy. Okay, excuse me. So let's see. I'm gonna drop you guys down for a sec. So this is this is Royce's. Okay, I don't want to send Royce's. So Royce, yours is not even filled out. So maybe I can just make a copy of this. So make a copy and
I just said he gave us this so we can print it out and fill ourselves.
I know, but I'm telling you, I want a digital copy. So, okay, because here's the problem, Royce. Hold on. Let me send this to Clad. Okay, so I made Clad a copy of yours, Royce. So I'm going to send this to you right now, Clad.
All right, thanks.
Uh-huh. Yeah, this was at the beginning of the year, so it doesn't surprise me if you guys don't have. And the only reason why I have Eleanor's is because I was working on her with this at the beginning of the year. So Clad. Okay. Okay. So I just sent it, Clad.
All right, cool.
Okay, so you can open up that and then we can start from scratch. And okay, so like I was going to say to Royce. Okay. We're always going to want to keep a copy of all the work you guys do. For this reason, right? Because now we all need to get the performance reports up again so we can work on the mid-year. And I don't have any of yours. The only ones I have is Jonathan's, I think, and Eleanor, because I specifically remember being in breakout rooms and working on this with them. That's the reason why I have a copy of theirs. So yeah, and me and Sherry need to have copies of your work that you do, especially Sherry. But sometimes things get lost with her, so I want to be able to have a copy of what you guys are doing too. Especially if I'm not involved in what she's teaching, like in the classrooms, don't send me that stuff because that's her stuff. But if I'm working on stuff and her, like these performance things, if I have to do it with her, I want a copy of everything that we do because I want to be able to find it later on. Like if I had a copy of your guys' in the beginning of the year, I guarantee you I would have still had a copy of it. And it wouldn't have been an issue. Like, oh, can you send me a copy or, your paper copy? Always, when you guys get work, if you can get it digitally, always get it digitally because it's easy to send back and forth. If Sherry needs it, oh yeah, no problem. Let me go get Google Docs and get it to you, right? But if you have paper copies, always ask to get it digitally. So, okay, so you all should have yours, I think. So, Eleanor, you haven't opened yours yet. Where's log out your resume? Okay, Clad. I'm gonna exit out of your resume. And I don't see Clad. I sent it to you. Did you try and open it, Clad?
Yeah, let me check. I just got one.
Okay. And this is a blank one. I wonder if this is Royce's though. So I've got Eleanor's, Clad. Are you on? Oh, okay. This is yours, Royce. Okay. So I'm going to change the name so I know it's yours. Okay. So I changed the name. So now that's Royce Performance Assessment Tool. Okay. Good. Okay, so the very first one, you guys are going to have to remember what you did at the beginning of the year. Eleanor, your first ones are done for the first couple of sections, so I don't have to worry about that. Okay. Okay, so so that first one, you guys, it's the student will acquire skills necessary to function within a team.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Royce and Tyler, you guys are going to probably put eyes there because you've done it. You did it last year, and then an eye for the mid-year, right? Because you guys already know how to do that from the previous year. Eleanor, yours is already filled out. You said independent, so you might want to put another eye there on the other box. But you haven't opened yours up yet, Eleanor, because I don't see you on there. And Clad, you're on there with me, and Royce, you're on there with me. And oh, Tyler, did you ever send John a text, Tyler? Project search per student performance report. It's a performance assessment tool. Okay. And then I'm going to make a copy of Clad.
Do you mind if I ask John if he has a copy of mine?
Go ahead. So Tyler, I'm going to send you a blank one just in case. And
I'm going to text him
go
right
ahead.
now.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
I should have sent you all just copies this morning. And okay, so Tyler assessment. Okay. So I just sent you a blank one, Tyler, in case John doesn't have yours. But if he did it digitally, he probably has yours. And then we can just delete this one. Hopefully. I mean, it's not a big deal. We still have to go through each section anyway and put down for this year. So, I mean, for the midterm, the mid-year assessment, so it doesn't matter. Uh-huh. Okay. Okay, so I just sent you a blank one. So, Eleanor, you still haven't opened your paper. You need to get...
No, I'm trying to find it.
You're trying to find it? Did you look in your email? Because it's sent. Try opening up your email.
Okay.
So we're running out of time here because class goes from 9:20, so we only got 3 minutes. So here's what I want you guys to do. Eleanor, you need to open your...
I am opening.
Did you find it?
Yes.
Okay. So here's what I want you guys to do. Whether John can send you your finished one, Eleanor, I did send you yours, and it's halfway done, the first one, for coming in. So what you guys are going to need to do is remember what you learned from the first part of the year, because we didn't have all the skills except for Tyler and Royce. It's going to be the same because on the beginning and the mid-year, because you guys have already been through the program and you learned a lot from last year, right? So CLAD, it might be different for you, may or may not be different, because you I'm sure learned a lot of stuff along the way before you got here. So,
yeah,
yours is probably going to be eyes down both rows. I'm sure most of it. Okay. So what I want you guys to do is work on this. CLAD, you're going to have a class at 10:10 for the DB. So you're not going to have a lot of time between now and then. Just like an hour. So Eleanor, you can stay. So I'm going to work with you on this Excel sheet. So make sure you keep it up. So we're going to do this on our one-on-one time at 9:30. Okay.
Okay.
So the rest of you, when you have time, so Clyde, you'll have a little bit of time. So I want you to go through and fill out as much as you can. And it's shared with me, so hopefully I'll be able to get the updated when you guys are updating this, right? It's not that hard to do. Leave the questions blank that if you don't understand what exactly they're asking. And then for tomorrow's class, we'll go through what you didn't understand, right? So we can get this done. So you're going to want the first column completed and the second column. Because the first column is a pre-assessment. That's at the beginning of the year. And then the mid-year assessment is like, yeah, well, it's a little bit more than halfway through the school year, but it's trying to see where you're growing and what you've learned throughout the year. So work on it, and then we'll finish up tomorrow. Because like I said, it shouldn't take too long to do this. So if you work on it today, hopefully we can finish up tomorrow. Just take a little bit of time. There's quite a bit to read through though, so at least get half of it done today if you can. Okay. And leave anything blank that you have questions on. Highlight it if you can highlight it. I don't know if you can highlight. And then we can ask questions about it tomorrow. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So Eleanor, I still don't see you on the page.
Okay, I will get on right now.
Okay. Pull it up because we're going to work on this at our one-on-one time. Okay. You've got 10 minutes. Okay. So call me at 9:30 and make sure you have this page up. And then, Clyde, I'll see you at 10:10 for DMV. Okay.
Got it.
And then Tyler, I will see you at 11:30.
It's open.
Okay. Well, I don't see it open on my end.
Open.
Okay. So Tyler, we're going to be working on your janitorial stuff at 11:30. Okay. And we'll Zoom. It'll be a Zoom for you because I need to see you need to share your screen so I can see the pages and stuff. So I think it'll be easier. Okay, so, all right, guys. Text me if you have any questions, okay?
All right.
All right.
Okay. See you soon.
See you
All
soon.
right.
Okay, bye.
Miss Yvonne,
Yes?
how could I open with
What's that?
Pepper? It's the pepper.
Your Excel sheet that I sent you?
Yes.
Do you want me to send it again? You're having trouble opening it?
No, I
Morning, guys. How are you doing, Tyler and Robert? Tony, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Good.
How was your week?
It was okay. It was okay. It was kind of juggling a few things. How about yourself?
Same thing.
Yeah.
I was working on a project because I'm going to be doing a polished concrete class for a school district in Santa Maria coming up. That's the one that we kind of adjusted things for. So I spent a lot of time working on the presentation for that, getting all the tools and stuff together so that we can train on it.
Out of all of the types or organizations that you worked for, districts and maybe refinishing all of these things, surfaces, what did you enjoy the most when you were hands-on?
I like the challenges of both wood floors and also polished concrete.
Okay.
Because, so part of the reason I like the cleaning industry is I like when you do something, you could see the result of your labor.
Mm-hmm.
You can see that, hey, I've done this and it looks good. So it's that good feeling. What's nice about wood floors and also about polished concrete is it has a long-lasting effect, because when you do it, it's something that, generally speaking, looks good for quite a while.
Okay.
Whereas, the unfortunate part about cleaning is you clean today and you have to clean tomorrow. So it gets a little bit on the monotonous side.
Yeah.
But same time, you have to maintain whatever you do, But yeah, that I enjoyed the polished concrete, especially the decorative polished concrete, being able to see some of the amazing jobs and working with districts to see not only that we were able to help them take it to a level, but then based on the knowledge they gained from us, they went out and got more training and more knowledge through hands-on experience and working with other vendors to take it to the next level. So, and one of the guys that I have a lot of respect for is the manager of Custodial over at Elk Grove, Tony Almeida.
Yeah.
And Tony is that kind of guy. He's the kind of guy that, he's always trying to learn more, educate himself, his staff, and I enjoy working with people like that.
Yeah, that's good. You got to pick up a little skill, have a little carrot, learn something, put some feather in your cap, kind of keep you going.
Exactly.
Okay.
Looks like we're getting everybody back here. Let's see. think we're just missing 2 people.
Good morning.
Good morning, Archina. How are you?
I'm fine. What about you, sir?
I am doing well. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Everybody had a good week last week?
Yeah.
Yes.
So, Nelson, did you actually have the week off with the district or no?
That's a negative.
You muted, man. You said a negative, and that was the last I heard.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes. I worked Monday through Friday.
Nice.
Because with elementary school, there are elementary school are all year round.
Oh, okay.
Yes, they went back to all year round. And then even if I was at the high school or junior high, I mean, I had the option if I want to take vacation.
Okay.
They had that spring break, but I choose not to.
All right. Looks like we now have everybody here. So good. Glad to have everybody back. Glad to be back in here and get to our final last few weeks as we wrap up our training. We still have 2 more modules that we are working on, or 2 more lessons: carpet cleaning and then restroom cleaning. And then obviously we bring that all together for our final project. So today we'll get into the part on carpet cleaning, start talking about our equipment. Since I have everybody here, do you guys want this recorded? Does anybody need this recorded for them?
I would like it recorded.
Okay.
Yeah, me also.
All right. I will do that.
Forgetful person.
Okay.
Recording in progress.
Okay. So, all right. Well, today we jump into our next lesson on carpet cleaning, and we will get into just like we did with hard floors and with above the floor cleaning. We get into talking about what are the equipment we deal with, what are the materials, and what supplies do we use. When we deal with carpet cleaning, what we find is that the equipment we deal with is pretty simple. There's only 2 real pieces of equipment that we'll deal with, and that is matting as well as vacuum cleaners. The materials we use is even simpler. We'll talk about vacuum cleaner bags. So we'll tie materials in together with our discussion today. But the supplies portion, that gets a little bit more in depth, because in carpet cleaning, there's a lot more, especially in the maintenance of carpet, with doing carpet spotting. And we'll discuss that. And then we get into the procedures of how to maintain the carpet, which will include how do we spot clean carpet. So that will cover our lesson on the carpet cleaning section. And as part of that, then you guys will take that and spend some time next Monday, basically, again, going back into your breakout rooms, taking the carpet section, applying that to the buildings that you have assigned to you or that you guys have chosen. So you'll start working on that portion of it. Bring up our Google Classroom for just a minute. So I have our carpet cleaning section. I'll share my screen with you guys in just a moment. So our objectives, obviously, just like with all the other sections, identify our equipment, identify our materials, our supplies, our procedures, and then measures to control soil. Those are our 5 objectives of this lesson. So we break into the idea of discussing about equipment for carpet cleaning. And specifically, we're going to focus in the first section of this today is about the types of entrance mats. And there's many different types of entrance mats, but mainly the industry has broken it down into 5 different types that we would cover. And that is what we refer to as vinyl loop or pile mats, carpeted mats, grass mats, rubber mats, and cocoa mats. And if you remember at the beginning of the last section on hard floors, we talked about the use of matting where we would use 15 feet. So we'll kind of talk about what's called the rule of 15s in this lesson. But basically speaking, when we think of these different kinds of mats, and I'll show you some pictures of these different types of mats, the biggest thing we're trying to achieve is keep soil out of the building. Because just like with hard floors, soil is the biggest thing that will damage the floor. You remember we talked about how that 90% of the soil that enters into the building comes from the outside. And that through a proper entrance matting program, we can capture up to 80% of that soil. So it's important to have a good matting program. Far and away, that is probably the biggest thing that we look at as a piece of equipment that needs to be well maintained. It needs to be part of the system. In fact, I would encourage anybody who, if you were ever in business for yourself and you take over doing a building, approach your customer about purchasing proper entrance matting. Work with your vendors. Most janitorial supply companies will bring out a person from the mat companies to actually measure and recommend the proper entrance matting for a facility. And, this is throughout the United States. Those entrance mats will vary based on the weather conditions. For example, when I lived in Colorado, I found that we had to have a different kind of entrance matting than we had here, because there they also deal with ice melt material. They have to deal with a lot of snow. So they want mats that drain well, because some of the traditional mats that we might use here in in California, where we're dealing with a lot of sand, isn't the same problem. And so with moisture being such an issue, they look for that appropriate matting. So there's a trick question to that in understanding how much matting I need. First of all, entrance matting should cover the width of the entrance. It shouldn't be such that it is so narrow that it congests the walkway. If the entrance is wide, such as multiple double doors, then you need to have enough matting to cover all those entrances. Secondly, it needs to be set up enough so that the average adult will walk on it with 8 to 10 steps. How long of a distance is it? That's basically 15 to 20 feet in length. One of the questions, and it's worded twice on your test, talks about how many steps, and it's 8 to 10 steps that people need to take in order to really capture most of that soil. Here's what's an interesting fact, though, is that the cost to remove dirt, dry soil from a building is approximately $600 to $800 per pound of dirt. Okay. And our book talks about how much soil can come into a building. We mentioned about 80% of the soil. And I want to say that there are some specific numbers. I will find that here in our book and post that into our classroom. But it actually defines how much I think for every 100 people that are entering the building, it's a pound of dirt brought into that building. So you can imagine a building who has thousands of people coming in and out of it. The maintenance costs become very high. So it's important to get as much at the entrance as we can. So looking at our book, it defines the different types of entrance mattings. And we've seen some pictures. You guys, and I'll open this up to a little bit of discussion. How many are familiar with or have seen a grass mat? Let me unmute everybody. Nelson, you've seen the grass mats? You can unmute yourself, yeah. Where have you seen it? Where's a good example of a grass mat?
I saw a grass mat in front of a person's house, and I'm trying to remember what company I saw that. I can't even think of the company I went to. I saw the grass mat there.
Okay. Now remember, when we're talking about a grass mat, we're not talking about that straw-looking material. We're talking one that looks like artificial turf. Okay. Yeah. Yep. Exactly. And they're not real popular, but you will see them. And a lot of times it's more in residential use. I don't see a lot of them in commercial use. They can go indoor or outdoor. What's nice is because they're made out of a synthetic material, you can take a hose and just wash them off quickly. They will get some sand and debris off of your feet, but they don't do a good job of removing moisture. Okay. Now the next is the rubber mats. Those, what I like to call is the fingertip mats. And typically they have little nubs that over time will break off, especially if they're made out of a cheaper rubber or vinyl material, especially with the real dry summers that we have here in California or within the whole Southwest. So good at capturing sand. In fact, I see them a lot with the pre-K all the way up to about third grade level in schools because they capture so much sand. So really good mat for that. The cocoa mats, okay, is more like a straw fiber mat. And again, it's something I see more in residential use. We don't see a lot of those in commercial use. They're expensive. They don't look real nice, but what's nice is they get a lot of sand off. So for, a lot of people for entrance mats outside their house, they're a nice mat to use. And you may see them in office environments for small office complexes. But again, they're not really a great mat for large scale use. The two most common is the vinyl loop or pile mats. And a lot of times these look like just like somebody took vinyl material and laid it down like spaghetti on a mat. And it's just a thick looped material of vinyl. What's great about them is they capture lots and lots of sand. Again, not good on moisture, but if you use two different mats, a vinyl loop outside to capture the soil, the sand, and then a carpeted mat on the inside where you're going to get moisture off, then you have a really successful program. And if you remember on our last class when we were talking about some of the other mats, I showed you a mat from a company called Anderson Mats. Let me show you what that looks like. It's called an Anderson Water Hog mat. And what's interesting about the Water Hog mat is it's now been copied by so many other companies out there who make matting. I'll show you a picture of what a water hog looks like. This is a great image of it. Are you guys seeing the mat or are you still seeing the classroom?
See the mat?
Okay. So what's neat about this mat, it's a carpeted mat, but underneath each of these little knobs is a piece of rubber material that holds that so it maintains its shape. What Anderson did when they developed this mat years ago was the idea of capturing both moisture and sand, because it has enough of a profile that the sand will drop down in it, and then the moisture is being tracked off because it's carpet. So it's a really good combination mat of both a vinyl or rubber mat and a carpeted mat. Anderson's style of mats has taken over as becoming an industry standard. You'll see it a lot of high-end office buildings. More and more schools are using them with a variety of different shapes. It's no longer just little square nubs. You'll see it in different shapes. But what's nice with these mats as well, you could take this mat out and pressure wash it. You can vacuum it out easily with a backpack vacuum. So it's a easily maintained mat. It's my favorite style of mat. And almost every mat company out there who makes entrance mats now makes something of this style. So now the pricing's very competitive. So obviously the key point we want to get across when we talk about entrance mats is the fact that entrance mats capture soil. They're a key part of what we have to do for cleaning and maintaining our space, whether we are dealing with hard floors or dealing with carpeted floors. Entrance mats are key. Now here's the rule of 15s. Yes, Mark, go ahead.
Got a question. Those there's these like entering hospitals, for example, or certain office buildings, it's built into the floor. What
Yes.
are those?
So those are a combination of these as well, Mark. And somehow I'm lost where I'm not seeing you guys, so forgive me. And what you're talking about is where it has strips built into the floor. Those are real popular in large complexes. One of the things they'll do with a building some of the building design, they will have two sets of doors. This is extremely popular in the colder climate areas, such as the Pacific Northwest, throughout the Rockies and the Midwest. And what they'll do is you come in your first set of doors, you'll have that set of matting that is just slats. All those are carpeted mats. But the value of the slats is that the snow melt and large debris will drop down between those slats. And then periodically those can be removed, and it has a little bit of well. It's about that deep. So I would say about maybe 3/8 of an inch deep, that allows for buildup that can be cleaned out of there. And that's the real advantage of it, is its built-in system for snow to be able to build or get collected there. And as it melts off, it's just able to be sucked up out of there. Here's the other thing. Then you have that second set of doors. And a lot of times they will put one more set of mats just on the entrance of those. That is just a final dry off portion. This is especially important in areas where they use ice melt. So if you think about, again, those real cold climates where they're using lots of ice melt is like sand. It's very rough, and it's a salt material. So it damages surfaces. And from that standpoint, a lot of companies want to make sure that that's not being tracked into the building. So that's what those are. And I've seen them more, like in Colorado, you see them everywhere. Schools have them. Just about every place around has those.
So they have to be pulled out and cleaned up underneath, you're saying. So
periodically, yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a plus and minus on those, I guess.
Exactly. You know, the built-in is that it's there. It's one of the big concerns people have. And here's an example of where there's a real value. If you have a hospital facility where you have wheelchairs to deal with or people with walkers, The challenge you have with entrance mats that are not built in is that those mats could creep or move and create a safety hazard. So in that case, especially in a medical environment, those slatted entrance mat styles help to create a safety situation where it's a lot safer than traditional, but it still gives a built-in matting system. So that's why those are there. All right. So we understand that matting is a key element of it. The second tool that we need to think about, or piece of equipment, is our vacuums. Because remember, biggest enemy to floors is dry soils. And if we don't get the dry soils up and keep them out of the building, they turn into oily, sticky soils, right? So from that standpoint, our goal is to capture as much of the soil as we can. Now, when we talked in the above floor section, we began discussing about vacuum cleaners. Our discussion gets a little bit more deeper here in this section because vacuum cleaners are the key tool. You have to have both entrance mats and vacuums. And the vacuum is designed to be able to remove the soil that didn't get captured by the entrance mats. So that being said, we have a number of different types of vacuums. And if you look at page 77, we'll start with the idea of an upright vacuum and just kind of discuss the differences in vacuum cleaners. If you remember, we spent a little bit of time talking about backpack vacuums. We'll spend a little bit more time today talking about those. But this gets into all the different types of vacuums. And in upright vacuums, there are two types. There are what we call a single motor and a dual motor vacuum. So I'm going to try and show you pictures as we go through this. Give me a second. I'm going to pull up the first picture here for you guys. This is a common image of the old school single motor upright vacuum that has been in the industry for a long time. So let me share this with you. And this is the Sanitaire vacuum. A lot of companies make something similar. This is a very traditional, older school. It is a single motor vacuum. The motor itself, old school, was designed where it was placed where the fan blade was facing down. What happened with that fan blade, because a vacuum motor is basically creating airflow. We need to be able to have a motor turning a fan. That fan creates airflow, and as a result of that airflow, some air is blowing out and some air is being sucked in. And that is what creates vacuum. So with that being said, what the Sanitaire did was they did a combination of having a motor here placed flat, creating airflow with a fan blade, and the air that was blown in was blown up a tube. Dust or dirt debris would settle in the bag, and the rest of the air would blow out and escape through the outer bag, thus becoming a filter. The original design of this simply had a dump bag here. And as you can imagine, a lot of dust and debris would escape. A lot of times you would see these vacuums, and it seemed like it had as much dust on the outside of the bag as the vacuum had, or what the carpet had. It was really a dirty vacuum. But it did accomplish the idea of at least picking up some of that dry soil. But again, a lot of dust being kicked up and not being captured because of good filtration. And we'll talk more about filters in a minute. But this vacuum was really a basic vacuum. Nowadays, they've improved the filtration on them. What was nice about it is it was easy to repair. Vacuum brushes on the beater bar here The beater bar is usually contained right up front. And an upright vacuum has the feature of having a beater bar that is turning. So I'll give you an idea what a vacuum beater bar looks like. So these are different ideas of vacuum beater bars. They are what's contained underneath the vacuum. And the value of these beater bars is as it is brushing against the carpet, it is picking or moving that soil. Sorry here. It's moving the soil and it's flicking the carpet in such a way that it's improving not only the airflow, but also agitating the carpet so that we're getting more sand and soil out of there. So that was the real design behind a basic upright vacuum. That was a single motor upright vacuum. As you look at your picture, though, on page 77 of your book, you'll notice a machine that looks a little bit more modern. And that is a 2-motor upright vacuum. And give you an idea of a 2-motor upright vacuum is one of the companies who built one of the first ones was a company called Windsor, who's now been bought out by another company called Karcher. But the Windsor Versamatic was the beginning of what we would refer to as 2-motor uprights. And what this company did was they wanted to be able to get more quality where you didn't have as much dust and debris going into the air. Okay. So what they did is 2 things. One, they built at the bottom here where the beater bar goes, a motor just to move the beater bar. And then here in the body of the vacuum, they put a second motor. That was the vacuum motor. The real advantage to this is that you could take the head off, carry just the body, and use the hose on it to be able to extend and reach areas above floor. So it was the beginning of some really good 2-motor upright vacuums. The advantage to the 2-motor upright vacuum is that the belts would not break or wear out quickly. Usually belts would last years on these vacuums. The other advantage to a 2-motor upright was that you had far more power with them. Now, the disadvantage was it was now 2 separate motors to deal with. And you had to deal with electrical issues in connecting them. So as time's gone on, we've gone back to a lot of the single motor upright vacuums. And one of the manufacturers that I absolutely love, and this is one I have here in my house, is the NSS Pacer vacuum. And this style of vacuum has really taken off as a standard when it comes to vacuum cleaners. Picture up here for you. It's a little bit of a small picture. Let me see if I can find one a little larger for you guys. There we go. Now what they've done is the Pacer vacuum has 1 vacuum motor. The vacuum motor is designed in such a way that it also has a feature that drives that belt because it's geared. Nelson, you had a comment. You have to unmute yourself.
What do you think about the Kobe vacuum?
The which one?
Kobe vacuum.
Not familiar with it.
The one that they go door to door.
Kirby?
Yeah, Kirby. I call it Kirby.
Kirby's are residential vacuums, so I won't comment on residential vacuums. It's a different market. So Kirby's are designed, and a lot of residential vacuums are designed to deal with different things. I think it's a vacuum that's become out of date, but I haven't seen one in a long time. Some of their newer features, so I'm not real familiar with the newer Kirby's. So, yeah, I more will talk about the style of vacuum versus the brand. So from that, I couldn't comment, Nelson. All right, we got a couple more people have raised their hands. Tony.
So the vacuum you're showing us now too is kind of like what you're used to seeing, your bar, bag.
Yes.
You use this in your home on rugs?
You can. A lot of these are designed though for commercial carpeting.
Yeah.
You won't find them for sale at a janitor or at a department store. You won't be able to buy them from, Home Depot or any of those places. They're going to be sold more through janitorial supply companies.
Okay. Yeah, I use bagless. I mean, now going into using these bags and stuff, obviously it's more effective for your bar and so forth. But
you know what?
Dyson in my
house. And we have that for our residential. I mean, I think we have a Dyson here that's really good. It's a bagless.
Yeah.
They make some really cool lightweight ones because, with my wife and my mother using vacuums, I wanted something that was not going to be heavy for them.
Okay.
And those are really good for residential use. Let me address the difference between a residential and a commercial vacuum for just a minute. So when you think of a residential vacuum, first of all, you're going to realize that they're made with cheaper plastics. And in reality, we have to understand the commercial world that we live in, the consumerism is designed for things to wear out, so we have to replace them. And as a result, a lot of the vacuum cleaners, Robert, I'll call on you in just a second, but a lot of the vacuum cleaners that are used for our residential use are designed with different features in mind. A lot of us want them to be able to use for being able to do high up dusting. We typically would never use a backpack vacuum at home, right? It's just, nobody's going to put a vacuum on their back at home to be able to clean. In fact, most manufacturers wouldn't even dream of wanting people to do that because of the liability. People suing them because you hurt my back, because people at home aren't educated to properly use a backpack vacuum. Whereas in the case of the residential vacuums, again, going back to this consumerism and things built to wear out, the motors that they put in these are designed to only last about 100 hours. Okay. Now, 100 hours of vacuum use in your home, in my home, could be a couple of years. And typically we replace vacuums far more often. Most people replace their vacuums every few years. If you spend a little bit more, maybe buy a Dyson or Hoover or something like that, that is a $300-400 vacuum, you might get 5 years out of that vacuum, but you're never going to get the life out of a vacuum that you would out of a commercial vacuum. And commercial vacuums are designed to deal with the daily abuse. And you think about how much vacuuming. So I have with us Christina and Nelson and Robert that have done a lot of janitorial. So Robert, let me call on you first, and then I'll ask my question. You have to unmute yourself, Robert. Still can't hear you, bud. There we go. You there? Okay. Well, Robert, if you get your thing working out where I can hear you, there it is. It shows you're connecting to audio. We'll give you a second. while he's connecting to audio, let me kind of move on to my next question. Those of you who've done janitorial, okay, how much time do you think you vacuum per day?
I would have to say at the elementary school I worked at, I had 23 classrooms, and that was like roughly between 2 to 2.5 hours, just depending on like if the teacher had a lot of plug or like nowhere to plug in and stuff like that. I think that's what took me the most time, is to find a plug or to put the vacuum cleaner down and crawl and to plug it in.
Yep, absolutely.
So I would say between 2 and 2.5 hours, just depending for 23 rooms approximately.
Okay. So let's use that 2 hours. And then Nelson, how about you? What would you say?
Same thing what Christine was saying. You have to look for the plug or pick up, get your lobby broom and sweep the large debris off the carpet. And for me, I would go, it might be 2.5 hours, just searching and picking up the paper before you vacuum,
Okay.
But, but the only thing, if I had a backpack battery, cordless.
We'll come back to that. Save that.
Can I just say, can I just give a suggestion for Nelson real quick? Because something he said, I just want to help him out. So what I usually do is I pick up the pencils and papers when I'm doing the garbage cans, so that later when I come back to vacuum, I'm just vacuuming. I'm not stopping and, taking more time.
Yeah. Fantastic suggestion. Robert, it looks like you got your audio working, bud.
I think so. Did I?
Yep, you did.
Okay. Yeah, we used a backpack inside the airplane, and the general manager, he's getting ready to buy a cordless battery operated vacuum.
So when we get to backpacks, I'll get into the cordless and talk about those.
So they are powerful enough to do the job.
Yes, they are.
Okay, I didn't think it would be.
No, absolutely they are. So we will address that.
Okay, good.
But let me ask you, when you worked in the airport itself cleaning, I know you worked on the restroom crew. Did you do any of the vacuuming?
I did from time to time, and we did use backpacks.
Okay. How much time do you think somebody spent using that vacuuming of their 8-hour shift?
Probably 6 hours.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all they did was go around and vacuum.
Absolutely. So a large facility, you've got a vacuum cleaner being used 6 hours a day.
And not just one.
Yeah. But per person, that was on the vacuum, that vacuum by that person might be used up to 6 hours.
Right.
The point I'm making, if we used it for 2 hours a day on a school environment where we're vacuuming roughly about 46 weeks out of the year, there's about 3 weeks of the school year that doesn't get regular cleaning. That's when specialty work goes. So you're talking about close to 500 hours a year on that motor. And taking it to the step of the airport, where that same vacuum is being used 6 hours a day, possibly 365 days a year, you're talking about a couple thousand hours a year on that vacuum. So the vacuum motors themselves are what is the major difference between a residential and a commercial vacuum. It doesn't have the built-in obsolescence. Usually a vacuum motor on a commercial upright is going to get you thousands of hours before that vacuum is going to need to be replaced. So much more longevity out of them. And one of the reasons being, for the commercial cleaning industry, they've understood that the key for them to make money isn't on vacuum cleaners. It's the same as in the printing industry. Okay. It's off of the supply. And in this case, it's the vacuum bags, because they need you to buy vacuum bags, and they make money off of vacuum bags. They make a lot of money off of vacuum bags, which is understandable. I mean, vacuum bags need to replace. They're what's helping us to stay healthy. So there's a real benefit for them to make a vacuum that lasts a long time, because you'll keep buying their vacuum bags. So that's really how they're built. Now, a couple of things I want to address about upright vacuums before we move on. There is another feature to vacuum cleaners, and this is going to be the case with all the different types. It's a filter that would be used inside the vacuum called a HEPA filter. So let me show you what I mean by a HEPA filter. And HEPA filters are designed where they are going to capture a lot more soil, a lot more fine particulate than a traditional vacuum bag will.
Can they be clean?
No, HEPA filters actually have to be replaced.
Okay.
And it's because of the material that they're made from that they require regular replacement.
What is it, like a charcoal?
No, it's actually a paper filter, and I'm hoping I can find a better image, because let's see if I can get you one.
Don't they have that in a backpack underneath the motor?
They do. It's actually available in all the different types of vacuums. Yeah, this is perfect image I can show you guys. So you'll see them in upright vacuums. You will see them even available in residential vacuums. You can get HEPA filters. If you notice, okay, at one of these pictures, trying to get a better picture here for us. You might even think of this as a filter you might see in your car, okay? Because it's a paper filter that has a lot of area because of how it's designed. And you even see similar to designs as to what you might see in your home air conditioning system. And the idea is that these little pleats here capture fine particulate. They will usually capture dust or microns down to the micron level. And a lot of times they'll talk about being able to capture it down to 0.05 microns or even smaller. So the HEPA filters are a huge part of our dealings with vacuums. If you notice on page 80 of your book, it has a little box about the HEPA filters. And it says, since dust, germs, and other contaminants can trigger allergies and illnesses, an increasing number of facility managers are concerned about IAQ, or indoor air quality. As a result, vacuum cleaner manufacturers are now putting high efficiency particulate air filters, or HEPA filters, into machines. And it was originally developed for clean rooms, such as for the computer chip industry, NASA, and others. These filters trap more fine particulates than cloth or paper vacuums, and they reduce dust in the exhaust. The key to their ability to capture dust is rigorous maintenance procedures and tracking of when and how they are serviced. So, as part of your maintaining your vacuum cleaner, it's going to be important to change those out regularly. Each different manufacturer will tell you how often they would be replaced. A lot of times they're anywhere from 3 months to 6 months that a HEPA filter would be replaced. So just another part of how the vacuum cleaner is built. So there, as we mentioned in the vacuums, upright vacuums, we have single motors and dual motor upright vacuums. The typical feature that distinguishes an upright vacuum from all the others is that they have a beater bar as part of that head on the vacuum. Okay. Then we move out of the uprights, right? It's all self-contained, into the portable vacuums. And within portable vacuums, you have a few different ones. You have a tank type, canister, and backpack. Now, let me explain to you. I want you guys to see what a tank type vacuum would look like. Because when we think of a tank type vacuum, you might almost think of what we would call a wet dry vacuum. And let's see if I can find a good image. I'm going to use NSS because they seem to be a leader when it comes to some of their vacuum technologies. And this is a good example of one. And you guys let me know. Right now it should be black, but in a second this should load. And this is an NSS tank type vacuum. Are you guys seeing that with the green head?
Yeah, we see it. Yeah, we see it.
Okay. Here's what's the feature of this. This is usually built with a large tank. They can be used wet or dry. And if they're used dry, they'll have a paper filter in it. You have to remove that paper filter if you're going to use it wet. It's not something that you can use a tank type vacuum to pick up wet and dry at the same time. If you're doing that, I would typically say use it in the wet mode. But be aware, if it's in the wet mode and you're picking up a lot of dry material, then you may be getting mud going on. So it's really not designed to do that. The other thing is to remember, they don't have any trap in there to capture large debris. So no matter what vacuum we're using, pick up the heavier items, just like Christina and Nelson were talking about, picking up paper and so forth. We don't use a lot of tank type vacuums out there, but they are around and they are used, especially more in dealing with like flood issues, or if we're using for stripping floors, we'll use a tank type vacuum or what we would call a wet vac. Okay, so that's really the tank type vacuum. You guys also might be thinking of a shop vac. Okay. Same concept. Now, the other vacuum that is popular is a canister vacuum. And I'm going to show you a good example of a canister vacuum that's real popular in the residential or in the commercial housekeeping. Okay. So, for example, if you were cleaning in some hotels, they've gone to using something like this, where it has the canister vacuum, has a hose, and then a vacuum head. Now, these vacuums are nice because from the standpoint of the operator, they're very lightweight. They're not carrying them on the back, especially if you're doing housekeeping. Housekeeping has the challenge of you're doing far more things than just dusting and cleaning. You are doing things like changing of bedding, You're down on your hands and knees cleaning in a restroom, cleaning a shower, perhaps. You're replacing toiletries. So backpack vacuums are not real popular in the housekeeping business because of the things that they have to do in addition. So in that world, these are fantastic. In addition, much like a backpack, because of the hose and wand, you can take the head off and use it for getting cobwebs, vacuuming draperies, being able to get other things. You could add a dusting brush to do upholstered surfaces or do dusting with. So canister vacuums have a very good place in our business. They're lightweight, but they're not really good if we're doing room-to-room cleaning, such as if you were cleaning in a healthcare facility, if you were cleaning a hospital, cleaning in a school, an office building. Not really the ideal. So the ideal is the backpack vacuum. That's what we'll spend most of our time talking about here. And I will address the issue of the cords and as well the challenge of using cordless. So this is probably the latest version of backpack vacuums. This company, ProTeam, is the standard of upright or of backpack vacuums. And this is a great picture because it shows a lot of the things. First of all, the tools that it comes with. All backpack vacuums are going to have a wand. You're going to have your vacuum tool, your upholstery tool, a dusting brush, and a crevice tool. You also have the vacuum bags. Now, these vacuum systems also have the ability to use HEPA filtration to improve it. If you notice here where my icon is at on each side of the vacuum, those are vents. So what happens is the motor, which is placed right inside of here, is pulling air right through the hose, sucking air through, and this is where it's venting out. And it was done in a way so that it doesn't blow away the papers on desks. Anybody ever have the experience of dealing with a backpack vacuum walking past a desk and it blowing papers off the desk? Nelson, you've done it, right? So that's one of the challenges with backpacks. ProTeam has been working to overcome that challenge because in the past, all the air was vented straight down, which gave you a nice warm tush. But nowadays, it's vented off to the sides in such a way that it kind of distributes the air a little bit more evenly, and it's not blowing a stream of air. It's much easier, so it's not blowing around debris. The nice thing about these backpack vacuums is that you have the versatility of doing other things. We talked about above floor cleaning, how that a backpack allowed you to be able to do things such as overhead dusting, getting vents done. You saw the gentleman who was using it to clean up above the different areas, such as cleaning above the projector screen. You can use a backpack vacuum for that. There's a lot of things they can do. Reality is, in dusting, a backpack vacuum is, to me, my favorite, even over a dusting tool, because I'm sucking the dust in. I'm not capturing it on something. It's being pulled into my vacuum bag. But then the value is that you can change heads and be able to start doing floors. And you can use it both on hard floors and on carpeted. You can use it to clean stairwells, which we'll talk about in the cleaning steps. It's actually the best vacuum for doing stairwells because of just as pure safety. The only real challenge that I ever hear from custodians about a backpack vacuum is what you guys just addressed. Dealing with finding a plug-in. Where am I going to plug this in? Okay. And so, or just the hassle of dealing with plugging it and unplugging it from room to room, especially if you're dealing with a classroom. Every single classroom, you've got to plug in, unplug it. You never want to yank it out of the wall, right? For safety reasons. So it becomes a challenge. New technology out there has been developed with new battery technology. And a lot of this comes from the fact of cell phones. With the development of better quality batteries for our cell phones, that has led to the entire battery industry really going through some major changes in the types of batteries that we're using. And I want to say it was, 20 years ago that NSS came out with the first battery-powered backpack vacuum. And it may have been about 15 years ago. They had these batteries, but the vacuum itself would only run for about 40 minutes on a charge of batteries. Okay. Now we're getting much longer run times out of a set of batteries. Usually we can get run times 2 to 3 hours out of a new set of batteries. And what's nice is they have rapid charge systems. So a lot of times a facility like at the airport where they're vacuuming for 6 hours, they can go in and at their lunch break, change the batteries out and get a new set of batteries. And they're just rotating them. Well, those batteries will last for a long time. Typically, you're going to still get a couple years out of a set of batteries with properly charging them because of the new battery technologies. So battery-powered backpack vacuums are right now on the rise. I will say in the next 5 years, it will be the standard. Just seeing the way technology is. I don't see anybody who would refuse to do it. It used to be a traditional upright or a traditional backpack vacuum or upright vacuum. Cost-wise was around $350. And that's about the average cost still for a commercial vacuum is around $350 up to about $500. A battery powered backpack vacuum was running upwards of $1,200 when they first came out. So you can imagine that was a little bit of a steep charge when you know that you can get 3 backpacks for that price. Now those prices have come down because the technology has become far more advanced. The cost of manufacturing these batteries is cheaper. So now you're seeing them in the price range of, I believe it's around $600 to $700. And even that, I would have believed, is going to continue to drop over the next couple of years to probably be in that $500-600 range. So real advantage to the backpack vacuum. Now, here's the disadvantage to that vacuum. The backpack vacuum has no beater bar. It is relying 100% on airflow. The reality is carpet, which is a 3-dimensional surface, sand is heavy. It begins to drop down into the base of the carpet. But over time, the backpack vacuum is going to struggle to get all of that, especially if the person using it is going very quickly over the surface. So at times, we need to use an upright vacuum to slow down and get more of the sand. An upright vacuum purposely slows the user down, but it accomplishes more. It's going to get more sand out because of the beater bar. It's agitating the carpet. It's opening up those fibers a little bit more, releasing some of that sand out of there. So from that standpoint, from me, if I'm building a service plan, I'm going to typically, for a large facility, use a backpack on my daily basis. But periodically, I will have somebody come in and use an upright vacuum to really get the carpets well vacuumed, especially in the traffic lanes where people walk. Okay? Because just like on hard floors where it'll wear unevenly, if you look at a building, especially one that doesn't have a good entrance matting program, you'll see that traffic pattern right down the middle, and it'll turn gray. It absolutely will stand out because not only are the fibers being pressed down because of just the volume of people walking through it, but also it's got a soil buildup because the carpet is holding it. Now, how many of you believe that carpet is unhealthy for you? Anybody heard that?
I do.
You believe that, Christina? Nelson?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to give you guys a homework assignment then. I want you to research a website called the Carpet and Rug Institute because it's an interesting thing. Carpets are a natural filter for soil. It keeps dust particulate out of the air. If the reason why most people have gone away from carpets is because of allergy issues. But here's the reality of it. When you remove carpet from your home or from a building, it forces you to deal with the reality of that the sand and soil is there. If you properly vacuum a carpeted floor, you absolutely can achieve fantastic indoor air quality. It's some of the best ways to filter the air, in fact. However, if you do not have a good matting program and a good vacuuming program, then move to hard floors and then you'll see the soil and you're going to be more likely to clean it up. And that's the reality of it, is that a hard floor, the dust and dirt didn't change how much was coming into the building. We still know that 90% of soil comes from the outside. Doesn't matter. The dirt doesn't know the difference between the fact that you have carpet or hard floors. The reality is that you see the dirt on a hard floor, therefore you're more inclined to clean it up. Whereas in an area where we don't see it, out of sight, out of mind, it's trapped, it's down further down, the carpet looks good. And so people will not vacuum as often. And that's what leads to indoor air issues or unhealthy rooms. So now longevity, I'm a big fan of hard floors from a green standpoint as far as I don't have to replace it. Carpet should be replaced regularly. Now, I haven't dealt with this, but we have enough time in our class today that after we talk about vacuums, I'm just going to spend a little bit of time talking about carpet as a substance. Again, it's not part of the curriculum, but it's good to understand the flooring surface. So, okay. Now, moving on to the last vacuums, area vacuums. What do we talk about when we talk about area vacuums? One of the real popular ones, if you are dealing with large buildings, is something called a wide area vacuum. And a wide area vacuum is a vacuum cleaner. You'll see a picture of it on page 79 of your book on the top left-hand corner there. My computer's loading real slow. For some reason, it wants to bring up Wayfair. All right, this is a perfect
I thought you were going to let us go shopping for our own vacuums. That was nice of you.
Yeah, that would be nice, right?
At least a discount.
All right, so these are examples of wide area vacuums. These vacuums are typically anywhere from 24 inches to about 32 inches wide. And they have much larger vacuum motors in it. The portion here that you'll see, the upper portion, on a lot of these all have a vacuum bag inside of it. And they're going to capture a lot of dust and debris. Usually the beater brush on these is much bigger in diameter. It's probably about close to 3.5 to 4 inches in diameter. So it's a really good vacuum to get a lot of sand up for doing large areas of unobstructed vacuuming. You'll see these used in airports. You'll see them used in hospitals where they're using them in maybe the main lobby corridors. You'll also see them used in hotels, usually on the lobby areas, especially a large lobby area that has carpet, or banquet halls. Can you imagine cleaning a 3,000 or 5,000 square foot banquet hall, or even as large as a 10,000 square foot banquet hall with a backpack vacuum? It'd take you forever. So these are really good about doing that. They have large cords. They are now coming out with battery models as well. In fact, I'll show you something really cool.
Quick question, is it the same as a pile lifter or is it different?
It is different, and I'm going to address a pile lifter last. Nilfisk Advance equipment has come out, and Karcher also has one, that is a ride-on style carpet cleaning machine. And what's really cool about these machines, looking for one of these, there's a couple different versions of them. They have this wide area vacuum built in so that you can use it in a ride-on style. Trying to look for a better. This is a perfect image of it. I actually got to see a demonstration of this last month. So this has 2 beater brushes, and right here directly underneath is a vacuum shoe. This thing is about 32 inches wide. The operator is able to vacuum large amounts of carpet. And what's really cool, they can switch over the mode and turn it into a carpet cleaning machine. Instead of just dry vacuuming, they can actually switch over the hose to the wet portion and use it to do extraction cleaning, or a little faster, what we call low moisture carpet cleaning. So, and by the way, I will not be covering restorative methods on this in this class.
Are you showing a picture or?
Yeah, can you guys see the picture?
No, we see cell phones and stuff.
See a Samsung advertisement going on.
Yeah, let's change which one you guys are seeing. This is the one you should be seeing. Does that look a little... You guys seeing a carpet machine now?
Yeah.
Or a ride-on machine? Yep, good. Now, if you can imagine cleaning a banquet hall or an airport or, a large facility and getting to ride around doing it, this is the ultimate carpet machine because it can do everything. It can vacuum. It can actually do wet cleaning of the carpet. That's a multi-purpose kind of tool. So these are the high end of area tools. The other one that's out there anybody ever used or heard of a Chariot? You might have seen it, Robert. These are a stand-up style vacuum as soon as I can get that to load.
It's just missing a set of forks. It's like being on a little forklift.
It is absolutely like that.
Yeah.
It's like a ride-on forklift, stand-up operation. Mm-hmm. All the cleaning head is directly underneath you, and the front wheel is where you're able to turn with. But this has really become another really popular. Now these are only for vacuuming, whereas the companies like Nilfisk Advance made theirs into more of a multi-purpose carpet cleaning machine. So these equipment are, again, wide area style vacuuming. And let me show you what's called a pile lifter now. Now, concept is sand is our worst enemy. And if we were using lots of backpack vacuuming, that's our primary way of vacuuming, periodically, a real simple way to get some of the sand out that we haven't gotten out with vacuuming is to use a machine called a pile lifter. And that's not what it wants. Let's see here. I'm going to show you guys. Yep. These are pile lifters. Apologize for the loading speed. Yep, this is a perfect example of a pile lifter. So this looks a lot like a vacuum cleaner in the form of it has a vacuum bag, but the motor on this thing is a heavy-duty motor, and it is turning two separate beaters or brushes that are about 4 inches in diameter, and as a result, it's lifting the pile and sucking up all the dry material, the sand. These are fantastic piece of equipment for doing sand removal. I like them even as part of my deep cleaning. So for those of you who are going through the advanced course, when we actually do the carpet cleaning section, you will be using a pile lifter. I'm going to work with you guys on a few different options of machines we'll be dealing with so that we can demonstrate to you guys not just extraction cleaning, but also how to prep for it and how to use a new technology called low moisture carpet cleaning. This lesson doesn't deal with that, but I wanted, it's a really cool thing to be able to see. All right. Let's lastly touch on extractors. Now, extractors are touched on in this lesson, but we will not cover how to clean carpet using extraction. It's interesting because they touch on it, but I think they're really trying to draw attention to this more from the use of carpet spotting versus actually cleaning of carpet. Now, anybody used a rug doctor at their home or a rental carpet machine at home? Nelson, you have, I know. Christina, did you do any carpet cleaning there at the school?
Yes, I have.
Okay. So basically extractors are simple machines. It's got a box. It has water that you put in, sprays water down onto the carpet, and then has a vacuum motor to suck that back up. So it's simply spraying water, sucking it back up. That's what an extractor is. Now, that can vary in size. It can be as small as a little portable. In fact, you could go buy little carpet extractors for your home that you can buy to do a little bit of spot cleaning of carpets around your house. They don't have much pressure as far as the pump goes. Not a lot of vacuum, but they're good for small spots and spills. Commercially, we typically look at something that has pressure anywhere from as little as 60 psi to as high as 400 psi for carpet cleaning. You'll also see vacuum motors that are much beefier on a commercial extractor. And what's nice about a commercial extractor is nowadays they offer them in the features of being able to have heaters built into them. Now, remember, we didn't like to use hot water when it came to doing hard floors. What was the reason for not using hot water on hard floors? Anybody remember?
It would damage the floor, the wood.
Yep. Tony, what did you say?
Maybe VOCs.
That was part of it. Yep. How about you, Mark?
Removing the finish.
Absolutely. All three of you guys hit on it. You know, VOCs, damage to the finish, possible damage to the surface. However, when we're dealing with carpet, it's opposite of that. Carpet needs hot water. And the reason being, hot water helps to open up the fibers and allow soil to be released easier. It softens it up a little bit for us. There's another reason. Do you remember when we deal with hard floors, we don't want the cleaner, especially like if we're stripping a floor, to dry up real quickly on us. On carpet cleaning, we absolutely want it to dry as fast as possible. So the hotter the water, the faster it's going to dry. Cold water takes a lot longer for it to dry. So a lot of times when you get a carpet that if you've gone into a building where it had the carpets clean and it's real musty smelling, almost smells like dirty dog, that's because of one of two reasons. One, they used steam and really hot water, but they closed it up very quickly and didn't allow the air to ventilate. Or two, they used too much water or cold water and left it overly wet, and it just took a long time to dry, and as a result, it got musty. So in carpet extraction, where we're using water, we want to use hot water. It does a great job of rinsing the fiber. We will be talking about in our process the ability to use a carpet spotting machine, which is a type of extractor for rinsing or removing of stains. Because in this class, we will focus on stain removal. So if you notice at the end of this chapter, there's a whole section about stains starting on page 87. So the carpet extractors are really the tool for use on stain or spot removal. So just reviewing, we talked about, before we go on to talk about the materials, in vacuums, help me to identify the different types of vacuums that we addressed. Who can name a couple for me? All right, I'm going to start calling on people. Eduardo.
Upright hand vacuum.
Okay,
And,
upright and hand vacuum, both. Yep.
Cordless vacuum.
Cordless, yep. Cordless backpacks typically.
Yeah, backpack. And then, what was the other one?
Couple more.
The what?
We got a couple more. So you want to let somebody else help you a little bit?
Yeah.
With
Okay.
the tank type.
Tank vacuum. Yep. Good.
Cannon.
Canister.
Canister. Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. Yep. So within upright vacuums, we mentioned two different styles. What were they?
The motor.
A single motor and a double
motor.
Ken, thank you. Single motor and a dual motor. Exactly. Okay.
Sorry, Nelson. I kind of interrupted you. I'm sorry.
That's all right. We all teams.
All right. And then in relation to vacuums, what's the advantage of a backpack vacuum? Who could explain to me what the real advantage is to it? Tony.
Freedom of movement. I mean, the portability of it.
Nailed it. And that's an important, I'm glad you said it the way you did, Tony. That freedom of movement, that actually comes up on the test for you guys in talking about the real value to it. That nails the answer very well. Okay, so we've talked about the equipment. Two basic things, vacuums and entrance mats, right? Let's talk about the materials, because we're going to spend most of Wednesday just talking about the chemicals. The materials for vacuuming or for carpet cleaning is basically one thing. What is it? What do you guys think it is?
The paper bags.
The bags. Yep. Exactly. And you guys have already touched on basically the different types, but there's 3 different types of bag systems. Okay. There are cloth bags. There are paper bags that Eduardo just mentioned. And then there are bagless or disposable cup that I think, Tony, you mentioned earlier. So, or where they have like a dirt cup. And you'll even find those in commercial vacuums where they'll use a dirt cup, like Sanitaire for years was using a dirt cup, where the soil would drop down. You take the cup, dump it out, wash it out, and it was good. Now, the cloth bags, there's a lot of variety. The key to any bag is it has to be able to breathe. It has to allow air to flow through it. You're going to find a lot of times nowadays, even vacuums that have a cloth bag now still have a disposable paper bag put inside. So, for example, that ugly Sanitaire I showed you earlier, the model that's been around since before I was born, that vacuum now is standard with a paper bag and with a high quality paper bag as well. Paper bags really help us with indoor air quality. And part of the reason vacuum has gotten, or carpets have gotten a bad reputation is because vacuums had a bad reputation. Vacuums really for years were putting more dust back in the air and making the allergy issue even worse. Nowadays with HEPA filters, okay, that we talked about earlier, and high quality vacuum filters, you find that it's not doing that. It has much better indoor air quality because of the filtration system. So those are the different types of materials. It's basically one thing. Only material that we typically use in carpet cleaning is our the vacuum bags. That's it. Nothing else. The equipment is the matting, and the vacuums, our material is paper or is our bags. Those are our key tools and materials. So let me move on to the last part of our class today, and that is just talking about carpet itself. Now, most carpet, this is kind of a neat part of our lesson. Most carpet nowadays is made from a material called nylon. And nylon is a synthetic fiber, has a unique feature that because it's synthetic, it doesn't stain as bad as it used to. If we go back to the days of early area rugs and early carpets, a lot of times in the past, carpets were made out of natural fibers. Cotton or wool were the 2 most common fibers used to make area rugs. And back before about the 1950s, most people used area rugs in their house. But starting in the 1950s, we moved to people having wall-to-wall carpets. And in the early days, even those were made out of a little bit more of a natural fiber than what we have now. In the last 70 years, technology has advanced a lot. It went from using man-made or natural fibers to more man-made fibers. And that's where the technology has advanced. Nylon now is really the standard for most carpet fibers. And nylon has some good properties to it in that from the standpoint of stains, it doesn't stain nearly as bad. For example, if you spill bleach onto cotton or wool, what do you think it's going to do to those the natural fibers?
Disfiguration, turn color.
Yeah, it's absolutely going to do damage to it. If you use too hot of water, okay, you could damage it. Wool especially doesn't like hot water. That's where, again, that kind of dirty, musty smell comes. Most of the times, those carpets need to be specialty cleaned. Sometimes, like wool, needs to be cleaned with a solvent. You wouldn't want to use traditional wet cleaning methods. Guys, if any of you guys have a wool suit coat, you know that a wool suit coat you don't throw in the washing machine. You take and you get it dry cleaned, right? Because that way it's going to maintain its shape, its appearance, and it's going to last. When you throw it in the washing machine, we know it's going to damage it. Okay. Same is going to be true with carpets. But as I mentioned, nylon is the standard. Now, back when I was a kid, the ugly looking carpet was shag carpeting, which for just a stretch here about 6-7 years ago started to make a little bit of a return. Fortunately, I think most people went away from that. But nowadays, in commercial carpeting, how many of you guys have seen the carpet squares? Okay. Nelson, you've seen it. Okay. Carpet squares are basically a nylon carpet that instead of on a backing of synthetic material that is used, they call it jute or other material, it's now put into a rubber backing with the ability that when that carpet square gets damaged, you can replace the square without having to replace the entire section of carpet. So it's a lot easier for repairs and maintenance of it. As well, it's fairly easy to clean because it's got a very low profile to it. It doesn't need as deep of a cleaning. Sand tends to sit closer to the surface. It's not going deep into the pile. It's not damaging the backing of the carpet. The old style glue down carpet still had a problem where that sand would go down to the backing. Now with carpet squares, it's sitting a lot easier for us to remove it through good vacuuming techniques. So from that standpoint, a real advantage to a facility that has gone to using carpet squares is for you guys, if you can't get the stain removed, and we will be talking about stains a lot in this class, then it can be replaced by simply replacing those squares. There's a lot less likely to have damage to a floor that has carpet squares. They're a little bit more expensive, but even that, the cost has come down. The other thing about it with carpet squares, the technique of deep cleaning is changing. So this is going to come into play again in the advanced course. When we go through and do deep cleaning, I am going to give you guys an assignment of going to find some floors that have carpet squares. And then in our cleaning process, we're going to learn what's called low moisture carpet cleaning. That is the ability to use a machine and put a lot less water on it and maintain the carpet that way. So it's a new technique that has been around. It really came out about 10 years ago, and it's now become a standard. It's replacing some other techniques that were used. So just some really interesting things about it. What I would encourage you guys to do is in the next week, as we're talking about carpets, while you're out and about, go by Home Depot, go by Lowe's, go look at the carpets in their area. Take a look at the different types of carpeted materials, and in particular, try and look for carpet that would be used in commercial application, okay? Not what is used in residential. So you have to do a little bit of digging and looking, but it's going to help you. I actually keep samples that I have, and when we do some of our spotting, I'll be using this to show you guys how to do some spot cleaning. One of the projects I'm going to do is I'll give you guys a project. We're going to do some testing. So I'm going to put a couple stains down on a carpet square, and then you guys, we're going to identify how to remove that stain. And then you guys will actually have to play around with getting a hold of a general purpose carpet spotter. So we'll look at some of the things that you can buy commercial cleaning product from Home Depot or Lowe's that you can use for getting stains out of carpets. Okay. So that becomes a little bit of a fun lesson as we talk about it. But this is a good idea so you can see how low profile that carpet is. It's not real thick in material. It's the backing here. And then as you see, there's not a lot of material there as far as the thickness. This is very common for commercial carpets. So again, a little bit of homework. I want you guys to go out and look for yourself some samples of carpet. I will say this. If you check with some of the carpet houses, if you go to a company who sells carpet, they will probably give you a sample. They have these swatches that they give people all the time. So if you tell them, hey, do you have a sample of some commercial carpet? You can get one. I go pick them up probably twice a year for my classes. So that somebody asked me about the advantage of being in person versus the Zoom class. This is the one lesson that I wish we were in person for, is when we do the spotting, because it's nice to let you guys do the spotting yourselves and see how we do the technique. So, okay. So your homework assignment for this week, you guys need to read over the information about the supplies for carpet cleaning. And it seems like it's not a lot. It's just the chemicals. But I will tell you, there's a lot of details in this section. So from that standpoint, I also want you to reference the glossary of terms to understand some of these terms, okay? And we are going to talk a little bit about pH of them. So we will spend a lot of time on Wednesday dealing with these chemicals. I'm going to try and have a spotting kit here that I'll pick up from a supply house so that we can show you guys exactly these tools and how we use the solvents, how we use the high pH cleaners, alkaline cleaners, where we would use that. We're going to apply a lot of the principles that you learned in the chemistry of cleaning. So when we talked about pH, we're going to apply that a lot in this section. So that's why it's important to understand the pH. So if you're not sure, you had some questions about, go back and review. make sure you understand the difference between an acid, an alkaline, and a solvent, because that will play out in this section. Okay. So first I'm going to stop our recording, and then we'll just
recording stopped.
We'll go over a couple of things for planning. So Wednesday is our class regarding the chemicals that we'll deal with. And then Friday, we will get into the process of cleaning. Okay. And we'll go through the process. So Wednesday is going to be a lighter class, but Friday will be a longer class. Friday, we will plan on going all the way to 11:30 because we're going to go through the spotting, and that takes a while. So that'll be a full class. And then next week will be the breakout room on Monday. And then we'll repeat this starting next week. On Wednesday, we'll get into restrooms. We'll talk about the equipment. Then the Friday will be about the materials. The following week on Monday, we'll get into the process. And then we'll wrap up bringing it all to a conclusion the end of next week. Because our goal is in this next couple weeks to finish up everything about the cleaning so that our last week we're just doing our final presentation. Okay. So as it stands now, I did get approval on the ability to do the last day at the school. I am right now working on a couple details. So on Wednesday, we will spend a little bit of time talking about a plan because I know there's at least 3 of you who can't make it down there. Tasha, you had a question?
So I was wondering, is it too late to sign up for the next course? Because I'm interested.
It is not. So here's an advantage you guys have of taking the next course. Okay. Anybody who has taken this course this year does not have to pay or doesn't have to go through the CASAS testing. Still have to pay the fees and deal with all that. But you get to bypass the pre-test. So okay. You could reach out, Tasha, to I want to say Francine, but it's not. It's Therese. Francine's over at the jail program. But reach out to Therese.
I have a quick
and she'll be able to help you.
I have a quick question. I've been trying to get a hold of her for some time now. I've emailed her and I've left her voicemail messages and she hasn't returned my calls.
Okay. I will send her a message.
Me an email for the testing dates and I just thought I didn't have to take it again.
You shouldn't have to, Christina. So I'll tell you what, Christina, I'll reach out to her today and then see if I can help on that, okay? Because you shouldn't have to take the test.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, because that's what I thought, because I signed up for the advanced class.
Yeah.
But then she sent me dates for the testing, and I'm like, I thought I took it already. And then I tried to call her, and I left her a couple emails and voicemail messages, and she hasn't returned. So I was like, unsure.
Okay. Stick around at the end of the class. Let's see if I can help you right with that. And then Mark?
Yeah,
Okay.
Christina, same thing. I got the same email, and I contacted her, and she said, no, that was a mistake. That we've already taken the test that we did before this class. She says, yeah, we don't have to worry about it. It was a mistake.
Good news. Thank you, Mark. How many of you here, I'm going to do a little bit of polling too. How many of you here were advanced or interested in the supervisor level class?
I was.
Christina, Nelson, who else?
I'll be interested.
Eduardo, okay. Okay. I'm doing that because I have a meeting on Thursday with our principal from the district, Karen, who is Teresa and I's boss. And we are discussing our plans for next school year that would start after July 1st. And we're trying to figure out how we will offer that, if we're going to offer it through the district. That may be a one-off program, but I will have more information for you probably in the next 2 weeks. I'm hoping before you guys finish this class, I'll have a plan for when we would offer a supervisor level course. So,
sorry, I'm also interested.
okay, you got it, Arkita.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So again, homework really is simple for Wednesday. Go through the supplies, but also, if you possibly can, get out, go buy a Home Depot or Lowe's, look for carpet samples, look in particular at the commercial carpets and see if you can get a sample. If you can't, at least take a look so you know what we're talking about when we go into this section. All right. And that's it. I'll look forward to seeing you guys on Wednesday. How is everybody done on their testing? Is everybody pretty well caught up? I did not look last week, so.
Yeah, I have done.
Okay, good, Argentina.
I've done a little bit.
Okay.
I'm on the 4th module.
Good, Tasha.
I got
Ken,
a
thank you for the
96
thumbs
on the
up.
I finished mine, but I don't think you ever got. Okay, I don't think you ever got back to me on my score. Did I?
They won't give it to me because, I'm not going to get your scores. So,
okay.
You passed over 80% because it simply told me that you completed it all.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't have that. I will send an email off to them and ask them to do that. I can do that. Alex.
Okay. Just as a question, just about the testing, again, I always have a question.
No worries.
Yes, I know I'm a very questionable person. So just for a recap, at what point should we be caught up with the testing? At what unit should we be at this point?
Right now, you should have completed 1 through 4. Okay? Because we are on module 5 starting today. So 1 through 4 needs to be done.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. So what I will do is my assignment, Wednesday afternoon, I'll be reviewing tests. I might have some time today. Actually, I'll try and do it today. Tomorrow, I'm gone all day in Santa Maria to look at a floor. So I'll review your guys' tests just to kind of see where everybody's at. If I've got any questions, I'll email you guys. And if anybody needs help, we will plan on one off on Wednesday after class is done. So thank you guys, and glad to have everybody back. I love the fact that we were all back together today. Had 100% attendance. So look forward to seeing you guys on Wednesday as we kind of push through to get this class done. And with that, I will close class. You guys have a good Monday.
Bye. Bye. Take care, everybody.